9 days to the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Hello and welcome to Election Brief with me, Carlos Kaloni. Election Headquarters is brought to you in association with Petrosol, and we are live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125, all social media platforms and around the world on myjoyonline.com. Please stay for details. Now, the Catholic Bishops' Conference has urged the Ghanaians to reject any political party refusing to endorse the Peace Pact before the December elections. The strong call for accountability comes as all 12 presidential candidates prepare to sign the Peace Pact, a commitment to maintaining peace and stability during and after the polls. The event is happening today and will have all the parties and other interest groups commit to the pact. My colleague Blessed Soga has been interacting with George Amo, who is the Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council. Let's take you live to the ground and speak to my colleague Blessed.
The public and indeed the whole world that Ghana has come of age and that we have the resilience, to sustain the peace, the gains that we've made so far. So I think that that is what we expect to see. And to let Ghanaians know, we have the assurance from all the political parties, as at the last 1 hour, that all the presidential candidates are coming, and we hope to see them. And thank you.
So we are expecting 12 in all, 12 candidates to appear?
Yes, we are expecting 12.
I'm asking the question because earlier there are reports that some of the other candidates have to come from far. Some are up north, some are in other parts of the regions. Have you spoken to their campaign offices and have they confirmed participation?
Yes, as far as I can tell, as at yesterday, all the permit me to use the word minority presidential candidates or candidates who are representing the minority parties and the independent candidates have all confirmed that they are going to be here. In respect of the vice president and the former president, we have also received confirmation that they are going to be here. Indeed, the latest was just 1 hour ago. Yeah, so they are all coming. Yes.
All we need is peace, definitely. But will this peace pact guarantee peace? That's the question on the minds of a lot of Ghanaians.
Peace comes from within us. And when somebody, we can sign millions of pacts, if the person has not taken a decision, that will be difficult. So our hope is that aside of this public, significance of signing the pact, our presidential candidates would also, from within themselves and from within their parties or their movements, would be genuine in committing to this peace that we all want. Because Ghanaians want it. You cannot rule over any, broken house. No, you need a whole to rule over. So we are hopeful.
We know that you've been crisscrossing the country during a pre-election assessment of the atmosphere. We're just, say, less than 10 days to go. What's your assessment of the atmosphere going into the main election?
I anticipate that we are going to have probably the most peaceful elections in this country. Yes, and I know why I'm saying this. I think we have reasonable leaders. Probably we have not done that assessment carefully, but we have leaders, when it comes to critical moments, are able to, rise above the difficulties. So I am very positive that we are going to have probably the most peaceful elections ever.
If there's a message you'd want to send to Ghanaians, who are millions of them who are watching us now, what would you want them to know and what message would you want to send?
Let's be tolerant of each other. We cannot think the same way. We cannot ascribe to one political party. That cannot happen. So it is time we accept the fact that differences are part of life. And in political life, differences will occur. Even within the political parties, there are differences. So we should come to that terms, and also accept the fact that we are people of diversity, different ethnic groups, different religious groups. So we cannot think the same. So when we have come to that conclusion, then when somebody is PPP and you are CDD or whatever you are, you'll be fine. Let us coexist. That's the surest way to protect this country for ourselves and for our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, George Amo, but I thought I was going to ask the last one, which has got to do, obviously, with participation in the activities for today. If we find a presidential candidate that's not participating in the peace pact signing today, what is likely to happen? Will you still reach out to that candidate? Because we're, of course, picking up indications that some parties still have reservations about, concerns that they've tabled before you. If such a candidate does not appear, what will the National Peace Council do?
No, I don't want us to think about that, because I've received the assurances from the highest levels that they're all coming. And I don't see why I should be conjecturing at this moment, no. So let us hope. In the event that what you are thinking happens, we believe that we should be able to move on. Because we can't go back. So we move on, and let's see how we can re-strategize to mend relationship and
will you use some eminent Ghanaians to at least
Yes, but we are assembling the eminent Ghanaians here. That's what we are trying to do. So when we get to that stage, I can assure you, blessed, we'll cross it.
Thank you so much. And that's George Amo. He's the Executive Secretary for the National Peace Council. We're here at the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel, where we're bringing you a live coverage.
Now, the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Ghana, popularly known as SDA, in July this year served a reminder to its members about the church's position on voting on Sabbath day. This was after the unsuccessful attempt to push for a change in the December 7th date for this year's polls, which falls on Saturday, which is observed as Sabbath day for the church. The memo, signed by the president of the Southern and Northern Conferences of the church in Ghana, is emphatic that voting on the Sabbath is contrary to the understanding of the sanctity of the Sabbath day. Joining me in studio is Joy News lead data and research analyst Isaac Ofije with more on this particular story. You have been digging into this whole issue. What have you been finding out?
Is an important group to this year's election. Why? Okay. Because of their numbers. And as you can see on the smart world, this is not, a very small number. Close to 400,000 members of the church. And that's how the church actually deems people as members. The church doesn't baptize, infants. And so unless you are a baptized person, you can't be a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And you need to attain a certain, usually it's around 15 years. You go through certain initiations and schooling, pass a certain, examination before you even qualify to baptize.
Which means majority of these people
will have the probability. There's high probability that you have majority of these people being eligible
to cast their vote here.
Election. That's why this figure on the screen is not just about church members talking about children and adults. This is just the adult population of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which is now close to about 400,000. This was as of June 2022, per their statistics.
Okay.
Per the church's statistics, we understand that this figure has actually gone up by some significant levels, close to about, now we are talking about some 400,000 Seventh-day Adventist Church. Now, let's break down this close to 400,000 members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church and why they are important to this year's election. Now, across the length and breadth of the country, 16 regions of the country, you have Seventh-day Adventist Church in almost all 16 regions. Okay. Now, they split the country into two equal halves. They call one the Northern Ghana and Southern Ghana. Okay. Northern Ghana is about seven regions, and Southern Ghana is about 9 regions. If you add the Northern Ghana members, you're talking about more than, somewhere close to 200,000 Seventh-day Adventist Church members who are in the northern part of the country. And at the southern part, we are talking about somewhere about 200,000 members. Combined will give you the 395,000 or close to 400,000 figure that we saw in the first slide. Now, breaking this down further, why is the Seventh-day Adventist beyond their numbers or the their members who are eligible to vote. The Seventh-day Adventist Church also has about 20,000 facilities scattered across the length and breadth of the country, and during elections, they play an important role in serving as, a key polling station. This year, what we understand, according to data that we've received from the EC, is that there are 345 Adventist facilities which have been allowed to be used as
polling stations.
And in fact, this includes churches and schools. We'll come to that. But what we are learning from the church is that the church is not precluding members from voting. They have actually left that decision to individual members to make that decision on that day. And so the church itself is not precluding its members from voting. They've actually also gone ahead to give facilities to the Electoral Commission, their facilities to the Electoral Commission, to even go ahead and use them. For instance, if you look at their, let's look at the next slide that talks about the Seventh-day Adventist, the 345 polling stations we saw. 214 of them are Seventh-day Adventist schools, and 131 are Seventh-day Adventist churches. So that tells you that if they will be fellowshipping on that day, 131 churches of the Seventh-day Adventist Church will be given out as polling stations. How are they going to do that? The church has actually met, and they have decided that, look, they do not want to come between their members and the state. They still want people to go about and take their own responsibilities. However, they are also, Ghanaians, and they play an important role in nation building. So they are giving out 131 of their churches.
But the fear is that you worship on Saturdays. I mean, the church, so 131 voting centers. How is this not going to create some kind of confusion?
We've gathered so far from the headquarters of the church. The church is now encouraging what they call corporate worship. So instead of the individual churches having fellowships in their various churches, come together at one big place and have a corporate worship. So bring all the smaller churches together and have a corporate worship so that the states can also have access to some of the facilities. And if one of your big churches is being used as a polling station and you're finding difficulties, then you are, admonishing members or churches to now rent private places and fellowship, so that the states can also go ahead to use them.
That's a huge sacrifice the church is making.
That the church is making. And so they were not really happy when the news broke that they were boycotting this year's election. That really...
So the clarity is that they are not boycotting, they are opening up their church premises for, elections to happen.
And giving members the chance to now make the decisions as to whether they will vote or not vote. But, I mean, we decided to also, do some breakdown of these figures in terms of the churches that have been given. Just look at it. It's scattered across the length and breadth of the country, and you can see majority of them in the Ashanti region and the Greater Accra region. In terms of churches, for instance, they've given out 33 church facilities in the Greater Accra region to be used as polling station. Ashanti region 32, Bono East 14, Bono itself 14, Eastern region 14, Western North 10, and as you can see the rest on the screens right there. This is Seventh-day Adventist Church. The 114 church facilities, 31 facilities that have been given out as polling stations. Let's look at their schools that have been given out also in this year's election. You can see again Ashanti region, very important. 65 facilities. And in fact, if you actually break down the church's population, you realize that majority of the church's population is actually concentrated in the Ashanti region, which is the stronghold of the MPP. So in fact, it's a whole interesting scenario at the moment as to whether church members will vote, and even if they will vote, who would they vote for? Especially looking at the fact that in the Ashanti region, if you sample 10 people, you are likely to get 8 out of them being MPP. What is the opportunity cost at this stage? And what's the opportunity cost that the church did not get what they really wanted when they said that they wanted the elections to actually be held on November? What is the opportunity cost? We all don't know at the moment, because we all don't know how people will vote. But what we know is that in terms of the schools that the church has given out, majority is actually in the Ashanti region. Bono East follows with 43, and Eastern region 22. The rest actually you can find on the screens also there. So, I mean, the church is not boycotting the elections. They've opened a decision up for members to make that decision themselves. And then also they are supporting the election with more than 300 facilities that they have.
I believe this brings a lot of clarity to the issue now. Thank you so much, Kofi J, for the details you've been sharing with us here on Joy News. Now, with only 9 days remaining until the presidential and parliamentary elections, voters in the Esojaman constituency are pressuring political parties to present clear, actionable plans to address their top concern. the high cost of living. In today's edition of Constituency Lens, we take you to the Esujaman constituency in the eastern region, where the two leading parties, the NPP and the NDC, are engaged in fierce debate over who has the better record and plans for the constituency.
Constituency lean in December. What factors are actually influencing voter decision here in the Esujaman constituency? I believe you want to know. And so come with me while we speak to voters to understand the factors that will inform their vote on December 7th.
We the youth, we are suffering from work and then money. We don't have, some of us, we don't have parents to support. So we need them to help us.
Everything is too much. The fare, I mean everything is high. So they need to do something about it.
Here, they are not buying because the economy is very high. The passengers don't have money.
The MPs, if we vote for them and they win, they don't know us.
Oh, the youth employment in this community is very difficult because we only have VRA and the Voter Lake. So it's like if the course you study doesn't correspond to that area, that means we are not going to get any employment.
The kind of nepotism that this government has really shown that you have to belong to a particular circle before you are given some kind of attention. And you look at the basic things. Actually, I've really gone round, especially in Akosombo, and you see poverty staring at your face. You see people are suffering.
Right now, even Kenke, 2016, Kenke was 1 cedi, and we use it for campaign. But now Kenke is 7 cedi, 8 cedis. So I think that if any party that can come to power and then reduce the cost of living, I will vote for that person.
This, you see this thing? It's how much? 5 cedis. I have 3 kids. Looking at it, the school fees alone is even killing me. They are saying free education, but forget about the free education. The books we buy, the things we buy, it's even more than the free education.
For the past 8 years, I have achieved a lot that the whole district assembly could not match. I have achieved a lot that the whole MPP government have not been able to do.
That cannot be true. That is palpable falsehood. Look, many of the things that the outgoing member of parliament, Thomas Ampemyako, speaks about are projects that are sponsored by NGOs. And now the people know.
Who brought in the NGOs?
Look, I'm saying that sometimes the NGOs come by themselves.
Reporting from Esujaman constituency, my name is Carlos Kaloni.
Now the full piece airs on Joy News this evening at 8 p.m. Moving on, political parties pledge to prioritize clean air if they win elections as researchers warn of the impact of worsening air quality situation in the country. Public transport, especially trotros, are one of Ghana's biggest polluters. At a Joy News Clean Air dialogue here in Accra, political parties promise to incentivize drivers to switch to new electric vehicles and make local actors more accountable. There's more in the following report.
Air pollution in Ghana claims about 28,000 lives annually, with children and the elderly most at risk. Research links rising asthma cases in kids under 5 to urbanization and dusty, unpaved schools. Dr. Sandra Kwatin Owusu explains.
We've just released a paper which is showing that for adolescents 12 to 14 years, 16% of them that we screened in Kumasi actually reported asthma symptoms. That's massive because in the last 20 years, we were around 5%.
Vice Dean of the UCC School of Public Health, Professor Kofi Amega says air pollution is a critical area of concern that needs immediate attention.
We have a ticking time bomb. Air pollution is a very critical public health problem and needs solutions. And in his initial submissions, Mr. Apia talked about political will. And the political will is very critical to addressing air quality in the Ghana landscape.
Bridge City's portfolio manager, Dr. Elvis Giabo, called for a rethink in funding allocation to tackle air pollution.
There is uneven resource allocation for addressing air quality. We need to rethink of how we are allocating resources to address air pollution globally and then internally as a country.
With the December 2024 polls approaching, Desmond Appiah of Clean Air Fund urged political parties to prioritize reducing air pollution, particularly in urban areas.
What we are looking for is for deliberate, focused, intentional policies and actions that would have the potential to solve the challenges of our time, employment and the like, but would improve the quality of air, mitigate climate change.
Political parties pledge to prioritize clean air if they win the election.
A policy that ensures that we move away gradually towards clean energy solutions.
It's under our government we are trying to bring in a relief for those tractor drivers to be replaced with new cars.
Regardless of who wins the election, decisive action will be needed to tackle air pollution. For Joy News, Michael.
Now, the Ghana Federation for Disability Organizations has made a passionate appeal for a peaceful conduct of the December election. The Federation insists persons with disability are the worst affected when war and chaos erupt. Leadership of the disability community want assurances they will be safe when they step out to vote on election day. Yes, more from Kumasi, where the group marked the national celebration of International Day for Persons with Disability.
Issues bordering on the accessibility and safety of polling stations for persons with disability took center stage at the national commemoration of International Day for Persons with Disability held in Kumasi, recounting fatalities that characterized the infamous Techiman South and Ododo-Diodio constituency election in 2020. President of the Ghana Federation of Disability Organization, Joseph Achu Homaji, demanded assurances that no person with disability will fall victim to violence in the pending elections.
Safety and security of our people at the police station is very, very paramount, very important, because if there is violence at the police station, our people cannot run away. Somebody who is wheelchair, somebody who is visually impaired, how can you run away if there is violence? So we are appealing to them that they should make sure that the police stations are safe for us so that we can have our voting peacefully and go back home.
The theme for this year's events, amplifying the leadership of persons with disability for an inclusive and sustainable future, bears significance as Ghana prepares to elect national leaders. The commemoration afforded the Electoral Commission an opportunity to explain extensively measures adopted to cater for the peculiar needs of persons with disability in the special and general elections. Ashanti Regional Director of the EC, Francis Osei Nsia, reiterated the commitment of the Electoral Commission to ensure the full participation and safety of voters with disabilities in all polling stations across the country.
When you come, the system or the machine will clear you, although indeed you are the voter who has come to the polling station, by placing your fingers on the device. So what about someone who hasn't got their fingers? Then we also try that we'll take what we call facial recognition. Whatever that one's also failed, then we'll go the last stage, which is manual verification. We'll make sure we'll fill the form for you so that you cast your vote and leave. Then what DPI people call priority, prevention treatment, is the policy of the commission that anybody who is in this class, this bracket, come to the polling station, and we should be given priority. He should not join the queue. So we want to assure you that on December 7th, we'll give you all the protection you deserve.
The Champim Hene of Asantia Sokore, Nana Osei Appiah Kubi, who chaired the commemoration, warned politicians against acts and inflammatory comments capable of breaching the peace of the country.
I will just entreat all Ghanaians to be mindful of our utterances, our speech, because an iota of a word that will come out from your mouth, if you don't take care of it, it can cause a great harm. So as we are approaching this election, I will entreat Ghanaians to be careful before, during and after the election.
Well, that's all we have here on Election Brief. But before we go, let's take you to myjoyonline.com, where you can find election-related stories here. You see that this one here, parliamentary impasse is needless and regrettable. That's from Ablakwa, as well as election 2024. No party deserves to be voted for if they do not sign peace pact. That's according to the Catholic bishops. And then you also have this one here, selective roll out of free SHS may breed educational apathy, and among a lot more of these stories. You see Kufuor there, I haven't seen policies as good as Bawumia's. That's Kufuor's endorsement of the MPP's flag bearer. This has been your election brief from here in Accra. My name is Carlos Kaloni. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great afternoon.